Hello out there, everybody. Manny here at Area 503. And I hope you all have been well since our last video.
Hey guys, today I want to share with you an amazing piece of UFO footage that I found. This footage was filmed by a military pilot using infrared tracking, and it appeared that the UFO actually entered the water at some point. Now, if you guys are thinking that I'm talking about the infamous Tic Tac UFO that TTSA or the Pentagon or whoever released, well, I wouldn't blame you. But I'm not talking about the Tic Tac UFO. I'm talking about the Aguadilla Puerto Rico UFO incident of 2013. Now, some of you may have heard about this UFO incident, and some of you may not. But you know, for this being such an amazing UFO sighting, it seems that not many people talk about it. So what happened? Let's go back and take a look. It's April 25th, 2013. A pair of United States Customs and Border Patrol agents take off on board a routine patrol of the island of Puerto Rico. They are on board their Homeland DHC-8 or Dash 8 as it's referred to. The CBP-8 is equipped with a state-of-the-art L3 Westcam MX-15D thermal imaging system. Back in 2013, this thing was top of the line. Shortly after takeoff at about 9:20 p.m. local time, the CBP pilot noticed a strange pink or red light over the ocean that was approaching from the south. The pilot was alarmed because the control tower had not advised them of any other air traffic. So the pilot contacted the tower, who confirmed that they had a visual on this object, but they could not identify what it was. It wasn't responding to hails on the radio, and it had no transponder signal. As the UFO approached the land, the pilot noticed that the light on it had turned out, and so he lost visual contact. He notified the technician that was on board the Dash 8 with him, who began imaging with the infrared systems. This is what they filmed. Here we see this UFO in the thermal imaging systems. Hotter objects are dark in this view, so you can clearly see the definition of the UFO, and that it's hotter than the surrounding areas. This little guy is being extremely difficult for this technician to track, but he does a great job. Here, when he switches camera modes, he gets ahead of the thing a little bit. There it is. Check that baby out. It's just cooking right along. One estimate places the speed of the UFO at about 100 miles per hour. Whew! What is this thing doing out there? It just popped up out of the ocean and is circling over this small coastal town, just checking things out? That's crazy. Look at the way this thing is flying. It certainly moves like a piloted object, as if it's reacting to light changes in the wind and disturbances, and it's adjusting its trajectory to maintain a course. That suggests to me that an intelligence, either artificial or biological, is operating this object. I want to point something out right here. This strip of dark color is the Rafael Hernandez International Airport. This UFO was being tracked visually by the control tower at the airport. The tower delayed the takeoff of a FedEx plane due to the obstruction of the UFO. That tells you how significant this was. The tower believed that this UFO was enough of a threat that it delayed the takeoff of a FedEx plane by 15 minutes until the threat was gone. And so I don't think that this sighting can be attributed to any form of sensor malfunction because the pilot and the tower all saw it visibly. Here, it starts to make its way over a populated residential area. Whoa, did you see that? It looks like it just disappears there for a second when it passes over that building. Maybe it passed behind or underneath something like a tree or a telephone pole that doesn't show on infrared. I don't know, but as low flying as this thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. Look, it does it again. Okay, check this out. The UFO is passing behind the trees before, but here it's passing in front of the trees. So that means that this UFO is most likely at an altitude of about 30 to 50 feet, I would guess. I mean, it is possible that the UFO is above the tree, but since the CBP pilot is only at about 2,200 feet at this point, I think we can safely rule that out. So, here we got this UFO, and it's flying right overhead of all of these witnesses at about 100 miles per hour. Crazy, right? And there he goes, just zipping along over all these houses and all these witnesses without a care in the world. Boom, behind another tree. And another. What the hell is this thing doing over all those people? I mean, it could be doing anything from simple observation to exposing the population to a virus or some strange radiation. I mean, that's truly just speculation. There's nothing to indicate that anything's going on here. But you gotta admit that if this UFO wanted to pull something like that, they pretty much could, and no one could stop it. Nor would anyone even likely notice. I mean, the only reason that we got footage of this event is because the CBP pilot happened to be there. Otherwise, this would have just been a visual contact that had disappeared, and it would have been written away in a log file, and no one would have given it a second thought. Whoa, wait a minute. It looks like that UFO just crashed down into the water, but it didn't make a splash, leave a wake, or even slow down. What? I don't think that's possible. The way that I understand physics, anytime a physical object enters a body of water, there's going to always be displacement of volume due to the added mass of that object, and the displacement of the inertia of the UFO as well, resulting in the slowdown of the object's velocity, and creating what we commonly call a splash. But we see none of that here. This UFO appears to enter the water unrestricted at 80 miles per hour. It doesn't slow down, it doesn't create a splash, and it leaves no wake behind it, seemingly defying the laws of physics. The only thing that I could think of that would enter water and not appear to be slowed down or leave a wake or splash would be some form of energy device or energy being, or some form of pure energy.
Pure energy. Matter without form. Impossible.
Check out how this thing is flying, like it doesn't care if anyone sees it. Wow, now there's two of them? Did that other one join up with this one, or did the original UFO split into two?
Let's take another look at that part. Here, the UFO enters the water, and like I said before, it doesn't seem to leave any form of wake or splash. And as it slowly reemerges, it appears to spiral just a little bit, right before it splits into two UFOs. Take a look at that. But I think that this is just a trick of perspective, because this movement appears to be caused from the camera operator who is moving the camera to keep the UFO in frame. Let me see if I can stabilize the movement. Here it looks like the UFO is flying in a straight line, but it looks like it dips into the water, and as it reemerges, it splits into two UFOs. Wow. I really have no explanation for that. I've seen other credible footage of UFOs that appear to be man-made, most likely top-secret military projects. And up until this point, this sighting had all of the earmarks of one of those projects. But I'm truly at a loss to explain how any man-made object could dive into the water and not leave a wake, and then resurface and split into two. That sort of behavior is simply outside of any form of technology that is known to the general public. And so to me, this suggests that this object might be something organic and not artificially created at all.
This thing just keeps getting stranger and stranger. Where'd the second one go? He just disappeared. Did it submerge? I couldn't tell. Didn't look like it flew off anywhere. Wow, it looks like the first UFO is completely submerged at this point, and the technician is having a hard time tracking the UFO with his equipment. And as desperately as he tries, it doesn't appear that he's able to reacquire the UFO at this point. So this thing is just gone. Laters. Hasta la vista, baby. What do you guys think so far? Pretty crazy, right? I personally feel that this is one of the most remarkable pieces of UFO footage ever released. And it seems like the folks over at the Scientific Coalition of Ufology agree with me, because they assigned a team of 6 investigators who spent over 1,000 man-hours investigating this sighting and resulting in a near 200-page report on the Aguadilla UFO incident of 2013. I'll link to the full report in the video description below so that you can read it for yourselves. This detailed report is full of information about the sighting, but I just want to read the conclusion for you. In the end, they stated, quote, "The object witnessed by CBP and tower personnel and recorded on the CBP DHC-8 aircraft's thermal imaging system is of unknown origin. There is no explanation for an object capable of traveling underwater at over 90 miles per hour with minimal impact as it enters the water, through the air at 120 miles per hour, at low altitude through a residential area without navigational lights, and finally to be capable of splitting into 2 separate objects. No bird, balloon, no aircraft, and no known drones have that capability." End quote. And I gotta tell you guys, I agree with the SCU conclusion here. I don't think that there is any way that this is some kind of known man-made technology. But not everybody feels that way. On a thread over at Metabunk, the prevailing theory is that the alleged UFO was a pair of wind-driven hot air lanterns in the shape of hearts tied together, very likely released during a wedding party from a beach located close to a nearby resort. Interesting. And they even did their own scientific style report on the sighting, which I'll link to below as well so you can read that for yourselves. However, I think that the Metabunk theory of Chinese lanterns is flawed for a couple of reasons in my opinion. First, Chinese paper lanterns don't function well in winds higher than 5 miles per hour. At the time of this sighting, the winds were close to twice that. In winds that strong, the hot air escapes the lantern and it causes it to deflate and crash to the earth. Also, Chinese lanterns are oftentimes launched in sequence, and they tend to go in a general upwards direction after getting ignited and catching the wind. Additionally, a Chinese paper lantern is incapable of moving at the speeds, an estimated 80 to 100 miles per hour, that this UFO was moving. A Chinese paper lantern simply cannot hold up at that high of a speed. And lastly, a Chinese paper lantern is not very likely to rise up from the surface of the water, float around a city, and then drift back into the water where it started. That's just kind of silly. Come on. When you add all this up, I believe that there's simply no way that this sighting can be attributed to a Chinese paper lantern. And I honestly feel that this UFO is one of 2 things. It's either an alien craft, or perhaps, and more likely, a top-secret military project that is being tested or actually deployed. I mean, if this is some sort of top-secret military technology, there is no indication as to who it belongs to. It could just as likely be Russian, Chinese, or English as it is American. And to me, that's the most frightening prospect about this whole thing. We just don't know. We don't know what that thing was. We don't know what it was doing. We don't know where it came from, and we don't know where it went. I mean, with all of the sophisticated technology that we have today, and something like this is able to just fly up out of the ocean undetected, buzz around this city doing God knows what, and then evade tracking and disappear. It's downright shocking to me, and it's also terrifying if you ask me. Well guys, I've given you all enough of my opinions. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Then, use some of those links in the video description to go out and read the information for yourselves and make up your own mind. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video and share your comments with me. I'm hoping if we get enough people looking at this UFO sighting, we can figure out what it is together. Peace out, guys. As always, this has been Manny at Area 503. And I wish you all the best until we meet again. And I am out of here to continue my search for universal truth.